Hello lads, welcome to a two-parter video today. I'm going to put in the description where you can skip to if you don't want to listen to one part and you just want to sort of get to the other. But today we're going to be talking about a couple of things. One is left foot braking, and that's the first thing we're going to be talking about. And the second is should you be braking in the middle of a corner, or should you always wait until the car is in a straight line before you use the brakes? So whenever you're learning to drive, generally you'll always be taught to use your right foot to brake, and that's generally the foot you should always use. That's generally the most sensitive. If you come off the throttle, and you can kind of judge it better and be smoother with it. But sometimes in the real world and on the racetrack as well, you can use your left foot to brake in certain situations. Say, especially in a manual where you wouldn't normally need to use the clutch, which would be mid-corner, or in situations where you just need to scrub a little bit of speed off. What I bet you'll have done is you'll have thought you've touched the brake lightly with your left foot, but the whole car kind of like violently shudders forwards. And you really, when you've not practiced it before, have no sensitivity with your left foot whatsoever, because it's used to just going for the clutch. And when you go for the clutch, you go actually surprisingly hard with your left foot, because you go fast and all the way to the bottom. So if you apply any of that to your brake, you'll find out how sensitive that brake pedal actually is. What's a good idea is, again, I keep talking about private land in these videos. It's basically just to cover my own ass, because I don't want you trying a lot of this stuff for the first time on completely public roads and ending up sort of upside down. Study a field or like a piece of land that your friend owns. A big empty parking lot is a good place. Try very gently bringing your left foot over when you're going at a slow speed, say 10-20 miles an hour, and just very gently applying a little bit of brake pressure with your left foot. And what you'll find is that first initial touch on the brake pedal is quite hard to get used to as smoothly as your right foot, and it'll just grab up, and you'll apply a lot more pressure than you think. Remember to keep your heel on the floor as well, just to add that sensitivity. If you're going for it like a clutch, where you just go straight in, sort of from above, you just dive on the pedal, you won't have that very gentle kind of pressure that you would with your right foot normally. So keep a bit of tension in your leg, and gently touch on the pedal, so that you're just sort of applying the pressure gently and then building if you need it. A lot of you might be asking, like, why would you ever use left foot braking? Just use your right foot. And I'll repeat that, yeah, for normal driving, this has nothing to do with the driving test. You're always going to be using your right foot to brake. But in certain situations, say higher speed driving, left foot braking is used to transfer some weight to the front of the car. Ignore that it's really crazy sunny in this part of my car, and so I'm like hiding over here. So if I do that, then I just start to light up. So if you're driving quickly into a corner and your car starts to understeer a bit, and you can feel the front tire slightly losing grip, a tiny touch of left foot braking generally brings a bit more weight onto the front of the car, grips up the front tires a little bit more, and allows you to carry a little bit more speed potentially than you would normally. What you'll tend to find with left foot braking is you can really get a lot more pressure as well. You can really stomp that pedal down. However, if you're going to need to change down a gear before a corner and you've been left foot braking, it's quite a dance to get your left foot back to the clutch and get the gear in. So you want to only go for you're not going to really be doing crazy heavy left foot braking unless you're in a car with flappy paddles, or you've got a car that's automatic, or you're in a manual and you're just going to be heavy braking for a really short period of time. But remember, when you do this, if you're loading the front of the car up, you're unloading the rear a little bit, and that will mean that your car's a little bit more susceptible to oversteering. So don't try this if you think you're not going to be able to catch a slide, or it's in a situation where it's on a public road with loads of cars. So generally, for road driving, you won't find that you need left foot braking, but it's quite fun to experiment around with, and just feel it gripping the front of the car up a little bit more onto the long flowing corners, especially on smooth concrete, where you can feel exactly when the front of your car's kind of losing grip, and as you back off the throttle just a little bit and add a bit of left foot braking, you can feel it start to dig in. Maybe the car starts to rotate very slightly, and especially with front wheel drive cars, what you then want to do is get back on the power as soon as you can to drag the car straight out of the corner, because if you just keep braking and turning, you're probably going to spin the car, because you've got that front loaded up, the rear's coming light, and unloading. So when we're talking about left foot braking, we're going to sort of move on to the question of, should you brake in the middle of a corner? And the two are linked together pretty much. Braking in the middle of a corner is okay to do. However, you've got to keep these things in mind. If you're braking and turning, what generally is going to be happening is you're putting a lot of effort on those front tires because they're having to do multiple things at once. They're having to turn the car in, and now they're applying braking pressure too. Also, what you'll be doing is putting weight on the front of the car, like we said in the left foot braking part, and unloading the rear. So you've got less grip on the rear now, more grip on the front end, and you'll find that the rear will try to overtake the front, which is oversteer. So you'll just have to keep in mind that your car's much more likely to oversteer or spin if you don't catch it fast enough. If you're just driving in public, maybe you say you're a newer driver, you're a younger driver, braking mid-corner is something you kind of want to avoid if possible. At least if you've got heavy steering angle, you don't really want to be stomping on the pedal because you'll find your car will want to rotate quite quickly. But if it's just a light, shallow corner and you're gently on the brakes, gently coming to a stop, then braking mid-corner is absolutely fine. And you'll find there's no real noticeable unsettling of the car or anything like that. If you're lucky enough to be able to experiment with this around on the racetrack, go for it, because it's really something that's quite fun to learn and really feel where the weight's going in your car on each forecorner and each tire. Alright guys, just a short little video today, something I thought I'd do because a few people were asking the question of, should I brake mid-corner? Am I gonna die if I try it? So, thank you, drive safe, and I will see you in the next video.